We're live here. Are you live on Facebook?
We are going live now.
Great. I don't know why we're not live yet on YouTube. We are live. Are you live on Facebook? Oops. Yeah, we're live on YouTube too. All right, hey guys, welcome today on this live cast. This is the last live cast that we're doing for this round of live trainings that we put together for you. In this live cast, what we are going to go over is the whole idea of conversations and conversions. It's Friday morning for us, so it is kind of last part of the weekend, and we are looking forward to creating some epic sauce over the weekend as well. What we've done till now over the past 4 days, past 3 days, and now the fourth day today is we've gone over the 6 pillars of creating a thriving expert coaching consulting business. If you're an author, speaker, coach, consultant, an expert, digital product creator, online education creator, online educator, this is the training that you're looking for you to be able to create a transformative story for your business. All right, the 6 pillars that we talked about on day 1, and you can watch all these videos on YouTube or on Facebook after this session. You can go on, scroll up and down, you'll find all the information that you need to find. The 6 pillars that we talked about is first was strategy. How do you know what you're working on is the right thing to work on? Strategy involves, are you in the influence bracket? Are you focused on the influence of your message and your product, or you're focused on the solution side of your message and your product? Hey Divine, it says offline. Just refresh your page, Divine. If we could send that message on YouTube, because I guess she sees offline because she just has to refresh the page. So anyways, coming back to it, the first part was strategy. Strategy is where we define if you want to focus on creating more impact and story out in the world and get more people to know about us, or solution, which is more about actually being able to provide them with the solution that will help them really have a transformative experience, your clients, that is. All right. The second thing was creating a product suite, which is basically to be able to take in and share with the world on what is it that you will take them through as experiences as they progress in the channel, as they progress in the whole equation, as they go one product after another. And that is something that would be the second part that you might want to consider. That's the training we did yesterday. Again, you can watch these trainings on YouTube or on Facebook once we are done here. Third, which we're going to talk about today, is conversation and conversion. This is mostly on how to really build your marketing in a way that it's not douchey, scammy, and it's in congruence with your brand, and it's a conversation and not just another conversion point. It's conversations leading to conversions. That's what we're going to talk about today. What we didn't talk about, but there are other elements that you may want to consider looking at, is systems thinking, which is basically where you kind of go in and dive in and try to figure as to what are those things that you do as a business that can be automated or can be systemized, something that you can actually go ahead and do again and again without having to reinvent the wheel. Can you systemize your webinar system? Can you systemize your advertising system? Can you systemize all these other areas of your business so you can continuously keep growing and kind of put them on the side and let them run on autopilot? This gives you the freedom, the space, the availability for yourself, and being able to really focus, hone in, and do the things that really, really matter. Things like content, for example, right? Then we talk about traffic. Traffic is basically where you increase your influence areas. How to really work in the modern day ecosystem of advertising and social media and all that kind of shenanigans. And how to really get traction. How to really listen to your customers. How to really get into what is working, what's not working, how you're always willing to fail, and be able to figure out what are the next steps and how you want to do them so it can become better. Lastly, team. So team is something that is, I was talking to one of my team members yesterday, I was like, that's the one thing that defines if your business is going to be successful or not successful. If you've got a great team down, your business is going to work out, because irrespective of the situation, irrespective of what happens, your team will pull it together. Your team will bring it together. Your team will help you come back into the ecosystem and actually help you grow. Okay, so that's extremely important that you are mindful of what you're building. It's not a bunch of VAs that you have to hire who get your tasks done, but you need to find a team that builds your business not only for now but for the future and can actually take it over, and you can focus on what you really enjoy. So that's pretty much for what we have been doing. Now let me just acknowledge a couple of people who have joined us online. I can see Kevin, who is here again. Hi Kevin, how are you? Then there's Maria from Germany, who is here as well. Hello. Thank you, Maria, that you are curious and you loved all the live stream. Thank you very much. Murtaza, hi, I am doing great, Murtaza. And Lawrence from Singapore. Hi, Lawrence. So excited to have all of you people right now on the live call. I'm not looking at the Facebook stream right now. I'm just looking at the YouTube stream. So glad to have you back and glad to interact with you towards today at the last live stream. What we have done is we have kind of done the work of actually realizing that a lot of our live streams, as much as has a lot of engagement, a lot more people find it more convenient to be able to go after the live stream and be able to watch it. So what we've done is we have taken the judgment call of saying that in the other parts of the pillar, we would deliver them over recorded content, because it seems like people find it a lot more easy to communicate with it, be able to ask questions with it, slow down, pace themselves, because sometimes I tend to talk really fast. So we took that feedback and we have kind of tweaked our 6-day broadcast to only 4 days, and we are moving in to actually delivering the other part of the content over email. So be on the lookout on your emails over Entrepreneur and Evercoach on Monday, because one more piece is coming out then. Go ahead and sign up for Evercoach as an entrepreneur if you haven't already, and if you are not aware of what we're doing there, because it will definitely get you some fun content. So go ahead and do that. Maria, oh wow, it's 2 a.m. for you. Have a good morning. That's a really early morning for you, I guess. Fernando from Mexico. Hi, Fernando. And I'm sure tons of other people on Facebook. Go ahead and type that in. We'll look at that in just a bit. What I want to go in, and today's a little bit heavy on content, we are going to talk about how to really build a conversation around your business. Now, so when we talk about creating a conversation, what we are really talking about is the new world. So if you really think about it, okay, in previous times what would happen is that you would have to just go out, put an ad, and there were only limited channels, so everything was very exciting, right? So first the newspaper ads were exciting, then radio ads were exciting, then TV ads were exciting. You would actually know the ads playing and you would actually watch it. There were not too many options, there were not too many ads, and even if they were like kind of entertaining. It was like, for you, it was like, oh, there's an ad, it's okay. Right? And then the world changed. They started becoming too many ads. So you started ignoring ads in magazines, then you started ignoring ads in newspapers, started ignoring billboards, started ignoring ads in TV, and then internet showed up, right? Which is a completely different world. As much as it created a lot of short-term interaction, where you were interacting with your audience for just a scroll or just a picture, it also gave the opportunity to us as people who are running these businesses to be able to actually create that conversation over several segments. It actually became better and easier for you to, if you are really willing to engage with the audience. Because think about it right now. I'm streaming all of this stuff live to you, like literally live to all thousands who are watching this at this point, live to you with the help of 3 phones, which are a device that we carry around, and 1 computer, right? And I'm streaming to everybody with pretty much no technology, like a complicated technology. Yeah, technology would go, oh damn, this is so complicated, I don't know how to figure it out. So it gives us the permission to be able to interact a lot more with our audience. And you could be doing all of your Instagram from your phone, all your Facebook is done on the phone. So it has become really, really easy for you as an expert to be able to send your message out and be able to interact back with your audience. But it also made that this message cannot be a one-way street. It can't be a communication where you're just going all in and just communicating without having the thoughtfulness of listening in as to what's happening with the world outside. Right? It also created that opportunity and that challenge of saying, how do I consistently create value out in the world so my audience always resonates back with me? So when I make an offer, it becomes valuable to them and they actually take action in taking me up on that offer. Right? So what's important in this whole conversation is that you need to think about your media a little bit better. You need to think about your conversions a little bit better. I think that now conversions don't happen only at the point of sale. The conversion has started to happen much before sale. A conversion is already happening when you're starting to interact with your audience. A conversion is already happening when you have put out your first piece of free content. The conversion is already happening when your video is up there talking about an idea, philosophy, or belief that you have. The conversion is already happening when you are educating on micro content or micro learnings to your audience. So if you look at our ecosystem, what we did is we said, and this is in this, I would say a span of 18 months or so, is where we went from a non-existing fan page and a non-existing business to a business that has over 90 to 100,000 fans if you combine all our pages together. And we're talking only about the Mind Valley Teach vertical. This vertical is where we educate the educators, the experts, the people like you, people who are actually learning to become better at what they do, their own craft, their own business, right? So we created Mind Valley Teach as a unit maybe about 18, maybe 20 months ago. And in 20 months, we've gone from nothing to over 100,000 fans, over 120,000 email addresses that we interact with. The amount of virality and recall of the brand is tremendously high. And I know that because we monitor that real time. We actually go out and interact with our clients and go, hey, listen, do you know about us? Why do you know about us? What did you hear? What did you see? What did you not see? And we realized that some of the biggest things that has got us that traction is because we chose, instead of going for the quick buck, we said, we want to have a conversation with our clients. We want to actually deliver value and understand what they want and respond to that. Okay, so which is why you probably got to know about us a lot because you watched some of my videos or some of our videos, if not mine, then some of our author videos on either YouTube or on Facebook. And they just kept coming back there every week. There was an interaction every day. Sometimes there was something that was showing up on your feed, and we have just gotten started. You have no idea what we're doing next, because that's even the next level of insanity of our interaction with our clients. But we could build that audience so fast, because we chose to take the path of conversation. Now, as an expert, as a coach, as an author, as a speaker, how do you build that conversation? By the way, at this stage, if you have a question, go ahead and post it, because we're going to monitor these questions and I'm going to answer them as we go along. And if they're relevant to what we're talking about, I'm going to answer them right away. Okay? So if you have a question, don't wait for the end of the video or whatever. Just go ahead and post it. Okay? So what did we do to really create that conversation? So we said there are 3 tiers or 4 tiers of actual conversation that happens between us and our clients, right? And that's how any conversation kind of progresses. And what we took as an example or backtrack to was, what if I wanted to create just tremendous amount of value? I didn't care about conversions. I didn't care about if I'll make a sale or not. The only thing that I cared about is, can I create a great value proposition for my clients? And can I create something that is an absolutely phenomenal way of being able to interact with them and get a response back from them? Okay, so this is what we did. We went in and we said, okay, so a person interacts with you in several levels, right? The first level that happens is where you are going in and you're saying hi to someone, right? That's what you would do to your clients, people who will become your friends eventually. First thing that you're doing is saying hi, right? Second thing, what you're doing is you're going in and you're talking about, once you've had that conversation of hi and introducing yourself, you would go in and you would try, if you want to really build a bond with them, especially if they're going to become clients, you go in and you actually start to give some value to them. You start giving in, and it doesn't have to be massive. It has to be just something Because if you don't give something, or if it's too big, it's too hard for them to believe about what you're talking about, right? If you give too much value, they feel like, I don't know if this person wants something back from me, right? So you want to give some value, but you don't want to give too much value, because you want your relationship to build over time. You can't just go and plow somebody with a lot of value, because they might not be able to respect the value that you're giving, right? So you have to pace yourself into it. Then you would go and you give increasing amount of value to them. And what you would also do is post that, you would start to talk about what you believe and try and find resonance between you and your clients. What do I mean by what you believe and the resonance between you and your clients? So think about it like this. When you follow a brand, think any brand, Nike, Under Armour, whatever the brand is, Apple, you're not following the brand per se, you're following the beliefs of that brand. If you really give yourself a minute to really think about it, as to why do you love Apple? Because you kind of believe their idea of simplicity, of creativity, of whatever they believe in, right? If you like Nike, why do you love Nike? If you love any other brand, why do you love it? It's not because of only the products. Products, of course, play a critical role, but the products also communicate certain values, certain beliefs that you have about that brand, right? So if you can communicate your beliefs, your values to your clients, you are able to create a deeper connection between you and your clients. Okay? Let that sink in. Okay? Last bit is when you open yourself up through vulnerability and through availability of yourself to be able to open in and say, hey, listen, I'm here for you, right? And that's how if you just go and reverse engineer a brand that you follow, if you reverse engineer your friendships, if you reverse engineer people that you love, they almost always would have done something to this tune. Okay, they would have almost always gone in where you just met them somewhere, you found a connection, you started to trade value between each other, then you went in, you started to understand each other's beliefs and start to bond there, and lastly, you really shared deep connected stories with each other, because that's just how you rolled, right? And when all of that happened, you created the greatest brand following for that brand, or you created a connection as a friend or a colleague or whatever that thing was. Okay? I'm going to take a lead from Maria's question here, which she says, if I am completely new in that business, how can I start to get clients online with YouTube or Facebook? That's exactly what I'm sharing right now. So even if you're new to business, this is how you would do it. So first thing that you want to create is something that they can get to engage with without having to, which also communicates your value, right? So always our first engagement that you would have with our brand would be through something that is called online webinars or online trainings or online masterclass. The reason that's a good point of first interaction, and that's what you could do as well, Maria, on Facebook or on YouTube, is that you would go in and you would create that, because when you do a masterclass or online training, what happens is you get to communicate with your clients, hey, listen, I'm doing this online training, it solves this problem, which is the primary problem that you want to solve, and I'm going to do this over this time. Now, when you do that, what happens is your clients who will say yes to that training will show up with the intent and understanding that you're an authority in that space, or you're a person in that space who can actually help them with that particular problem that they seem to face. When you are speaking to your clients at that space, and when you are going in, oh, okay, so this is like a hi. It's like literally going in and saying somebody, hi, I am blah, 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 and I do this and this, right? It's like a hi that you're giving to them, saying, hey, listen, but that would kind of eliminate or get them to be interested in knowing more, is why you start with something like an online training, right? Because it kind of establishes that trust, and it also establishes if they are even interested in what you're talking about or what you're going to be talking about. All right, so that's the high, and that's what you can do, Maria, as step one, is to be able to give something away for free, but it kind of establishes you as a person. It kind of gets people to know who you are, what you do, that kind of stuff, right? So that's step one, is to go and do that. Step two would be, once they have interacted with you in the webinar by signing up for it, or by communicating with it, by joining it, by responding by email about it, or whatever that thing may be, you would go and now get them Because I don't know if the audience here is educated about retargeting, but retargeting is a very simple principle. It basically is Facebook will give you a code that you stick on your website, and Facebook would track every person that came to your website and will allow you to be able to send an ad to them for them to be able to take the second action with you. What we would do is we won't actually send them to buy something. What we would do is we would simply tell them to go ahead and engage with us through different videos. Now, the second tier of video is where we start to give micro value, right? We don't want to give too much value because that, like I said, it might overwhelm people. It's sometimes too long a content. It's hard to consume, and trust and credibility is always built over time. It's not immediately built. It's not the first thing that happens. It happens as time passes. Okay, so what you would do is you would say, all right, so we'll go in and now let's show you something which we call the how-to videos, which are micro delivery. This is basically videos that range from 3 minutes to 7 minutes, where we are literally showing somebody a thing that they might be facing a problem with. How to be more productive, how to choose the right idea, how to select and reject ideas, how to have a great day, how to have a productive day, how to things that could be anything, ranging from how to enroll your first client. But these will be videos, short videos, giving you value almost immediately, right? This is just trainings right there for you, retargeted to you, or once you become a fan of the page, just push to as content. Now that content gets you to make a micro commitment to watch it for like 3 minutes, right? You watch it for 3 minutes and you go, I like it, I don't like it, right? But at the same point in time, most of the people will like it because they've kind of resonated already, which is why step one is so important. The high is so important. And then you go in and they like the content, and they are now seeing you continuously giving value to them through micro pieces of content or micro pieces of education. Once that happens, then you go to the third layer. The third layer is where you start to talk about beliefs, your beliefs, right? This is what are videos that are philosophical almost, marginally or completely, right? This is where you're talking about the idea, the larger idea. This is where you're talking about things like for us, we were talking about singleness of purpose, which is basically having one purpose, one idea at a time, and really pursuing that. Or Brave Souls, which talks about how being an entrepreneur is being a brave soul. These are philosophies, these are beliefs that I have and our brand has, and we communicate that over maybe something between a minute to a 2 or 3 minute video, right? Now what belief does, or building these belief videos does, it creates resonance between you and your clients again, because if they believe the same thing, now you've found a common trust and bond between you and your clients. Okay, because now they believe the same things. This is also the stage where you start to communicate your vulnerability, because now you start to tell stories about why you have that belief, what made you believe that belief, what defines your values. Now think about it. That's a really sensitive topic. That's already a topic that goes into one step deeper that you would usually go to, right? And once you create that ecosystem, once you start to deliver that value, what happens is now person who interacted with you as just somebody to know some little bit of information got how-to videos that maybe he's seen somewhere else too, but still got some more value, so he's now remembering you, or she's now remembering you. Then you're getting into actually talking about the beliefs and the vulnerability of yours, which kind of seals the whole conversation into them knowing you really well, and not only knowing you really well, but actually being able to respond to you because of the amount of micro-learning that you have given, amount of availability that you have had for them to be able to really understand and trust what you're doing. It allows you to be able to completely transform the story, and it allows you to be able to then make positioning of saying any product that you want to communicate with them, because now they are a lot more ready. Now they're a lot more engaged. Now they're a lot more looking forward to what is it that they can do to further interact with you. What is it that they can do to further get value from you? What is it that they can do to really be able to work with you on a much deeper level? Now, when you're creating all of this, like I said, is what you have to think is how, and what you have to be having a great clarity of is what is it or who is it that you're really communicating with. Now that is what I call ideal customer avatar. Okay, an ideal customer avatar is an ideal customer avatar is where you are going in and you are working with an hypothetical avatar that you want to communicate with. It especially applies if you're just starting out. And even if you've started out already, there's always this particular person that you always want to work with. And if you don't understand that person fully, if you don't know what their beliefs would be, and this usually, as an educator, would be you several years ago. Usually, it would just work out to be that person because educators seem to go through a particular journey, and that journey gets them to get to a place, a level that would allow them to be able to communicate a lot more effectively with. I mean, that's what really makes them the expert in that space, right? And when that happens, you can always backtrack to go, what is it that I was in at that stage, and kind of communicate to that audience because you've already taken the journey post that, and these people are looking for that journey, right? So it kind of becomes you several years ago, but that might not always be true. So sometimes it might be you right now that you are actually communicating with, and which is also okay. You just need to know what that person looks like so you can create content that will actually align with them, that you can create content that will actually give value to them. Cool. So that's what you have to be mindful of. Maria is asking, means it would be wrong starting with the beliefs and what I'm standing for? It won't be wrong, but if you don't have any audience, why should I listen to what you believe? If you really think about it. I mean, and it's not that nobody will listen to it. People will still listen to it. People will still resonate with it. But if you go straight right in there, it's like I haven't even said hi to you and I start to say, hey, listen, what I believe in, this and that. So it's a great still, you would get conversations going and you'll still get people interested. But I would suggest to go the other way if possible. If it's not possible, you can start at beliefs. But that's just, I would assume it will not get you the same results that it would get you if you started at high, instead of just starting with your values straight away. So that's just my recommendation for it. It's not wrong or incorrect. It's just a different way of approaching things. All right, so how we did is, like I said, we built all this whole thing. We built it all video based because that's the model we liked. That's the thing that we wanted to do, is to be able to communicate through video because that's the new media. But you could choose anything. You could choose written text. You could choose blog posts. You could use images. You could use anything to communicate the same bit. Lawrence, ICA is the ideal customer avatar. Okay, so anyway, so what I was saying is that, so you want to communicate to ICA, but you also want to, we chose the medium based on what we liked, and video was the new thing, and we really want to do that over video, but you can choose to do on whatever medium, whatever is more convenient and to you. Okay, so conversion is, at this point, I think, has become a lot more about the value that you deliver as an expert and the emotions that you trigger with the person who's making that purchase decision. Now, in the past, what would happen is, because there was not so many channels of communication, it wasn't so much about the ways you can interact with the audience, it wasn't about all that other stuff. People thought that they could just do it by having a great sales page. And yes, a great sales page helps. It's nothing wrong about it. You should have a great sales page because that's the action point, right? If your action point is weak, it is going to be weak, your conversions as well. But at the same point in time, you would not even need a great sales page if you did a good job in starting and keeping this conversation, right? Because people are already sold to the idea of what you are talking about. They're already sold to who you are as a person, what you stand for, what you train for. They've already seen enough content from you for them to be able to make a buying decision. What you're simply looking for at conversion point at that is that particular offer for the price that you're charging is a good offer. That's what the real thing that you're really looking for. What I want to go over is, now that you understand all of this and you understand how to create these videos, or what to create, not how, but what to create at what stage, I want to quickly go over on what you can create as your first few steps, as your first few videos. So what we did is, in our first round of creating these videos, we said, okay, let's start with just how to, or micro learning content, because That's something that is that increases the trust between you and your clients gradually, because they're getting more value, they're getting a training that they can use, and then they're getting another training and they can use that, etc. And it paces them to get more and more value from you every day. So that's a good start point. That's a great start point, and that allows you to not have to be 100% comfortable with your vulnerability or your beliefs, because that can get a little tricky sometimes, right? Because it's something that is you have to get comfortable to be able to do. So that's why I would suggest to start with how to or micro learning content. That's at least where we started, and it worked out pretty fine for us. So I would suggest you start there as well. How to create the how to videos, right? So there's 3 phases of it. So first phase is to actually go ahead and find what to really record. Okay, how to find what to record? First step is always to find or survey your audience. Okay, if possible, if you have an audience on Facebook, on email or whatever channel, go ahead and ask them what would they like to know more. Just ask them, hey, what would you like me to train about it? Put a survey monkey or something so people can reply and literally enter their information, answer their question, and you can qualify the questions, right? That's one super easy way for you to get started. Second super easy way for you to get started is you can go ahead and check out what people have been watching from people who have published content in the past, right? Because there must be, if you're in an active space, there will be other people who have been an educator, an expert in that space, and they would have created content in the past. So what I would suggest is that you go in and you actually go in and say, hey, listen, this is what, these are a couple of topics that have already been covered. Let's go in and actually cover these. And that's a good way of creating what content will resonate with your audience, because the other educators have already done that, right? Last bit is that you go internal and you go, when you were there, what were some of the topics that you really cared about and you really would want to know? So sometimes these topics may not seem obvious. Like, for example, for experts, productivity training is not really obvious, but we talk about it a lot and gets a lot of response from them, because it is something that is subtle, it's not evident, and that's not what you are seeing or I'm seeing as an expert in, but at the same point in time, I know that that's the education they are looking for. And of course, I'm not an expert in it, but I do have my thoughts and opinions about it. I have my own ways of being highly productive. So you just share that. So first thing is to know what topics to create. So these are some ways to actually figure out what topics. Second is the structure of the content itself, right? The structure of the content should be in a way that people can consume it really fast and get something to take away from it. I also believe that when you create things like these, you can repurpose this content in many different ways, okay? So step 2 would be for you to actually find the structure of your how to content. Here's a sample structure that you can use. Start with always introducing yourself. So if anybody who's a new audience watches it, at least knows who you are and knows your website. Go in and tell about the problem. So go ahead and say what we are discussing today. Tell the exact question. Talk about why that question is important. So like 30 seconds, doesn't have to be long, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Then go in and give 3 to 5 to 7 steps to actually solve it, right? It would be great if you can give a system for each one of them, but even if you don't have a system, if you give 3 to 5 to 7 steps to do it, again, that's great. I mean, that's something that people can take straight off after watching the video and actually execute on it. What you're looking for really is, can you get them to get a result straight away, all right? And then after that, what you want to do is the last bit is to be able to close with a call for them to do something on your channel. For example, go ahead and like my page. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are creating new content every week or every month, whatever the cycle is. And you go ahead and educate that to your audience, so that way they can actually take action and get repeated content from you. So what you're really doing is not really trying to get them to buy anything or take any call to action, which is to basically spend money, but simply you're giving them call to action to really engage back with you as an audience and say, okay, all right, this is a great way to learn, right? So you're really creating that. Last bit is to actually go ahead and record that video. Now, ideally, I would suggest that go ahead and record that video in a setting that is consistent, or at least has a little bit more ease. It's a little bit easy on the eyes. It's not very too much, like too much movement, because it's 3-4 minutes of engagement that you're looking for. So you're looking for stable cameras, you're looking for easy ways to communicate. It doesn't have to be super fancy. You could do it with a regular DSLR or even with your phone. A lot of people create content with their phone and your computer, or put a nice HD webcam on your computer and create content through that. So I would say do any of that, and that would be good for you to actually create those videos. In the starting, you can just literally use a webcam, talk straight to the webcam, and really like just record a good audio. All you want to make sure is the audio is clear, which is very easy these days, and your video is clear enough, and have that go out as your released content. As you progress and then as you get more investment to be able to do this, know that the better quality of content and more of it looking like a show is better for you, in the sense of how many more people will watch it. So watchability increases when it's pleasing to the eyes, when people actually are not only in resonance with the content, but are in resonance with actually how they look at it and how they perceive it as a show. All right. I have a question from Nina here. Hi from Paris. Hi, Nina. Quick question. If you try to get deeper and closer to your clients, would it be a good idea to let the clients discuss together? Like create a dynamic between them two, and not only between you and them? Well, you can. I don't know what area you are coaching and consulting in and educating in, but in most of the areas, you can actually have your clients interact. For that matter, if they have had a great experience, it's always better to have them interact. And that's what you do in group settings, is that you create that social contagion of people. So think about it like this. So some of our groups, what happens is people become such good friends that they want to stay in that group for months and years, because they just don't want to lose that friendship. That group, that meeting, that thing that comes together is like their thing. It's like they don't want to quit it, irrespective of how much money it costs, because they're like, well, that's where I go to meet my friends. That's where I go to meet people I can really, truly, honestly share about things that I want to share about, which is not so easy to find in modern world, especially if you're working on a really sensitive issue or an issue that is not a commonplace thing. It actually is better for them. We've seen this phenomenon already online through our groups on consciousness engineering, Evercoach, and Zentrepreneur. We have seen this phenomenon happen live because of our events like A-Fest. There are a couple of my clients that run this phenomenon in their businesses, where they put groups, mastermind groups, where people come in and, well, they don't leave. Even if you ask them, you go, well, you've learned everything you can possibly learn. Can you leave? And they go, no, I'm happy to pay you the money, because what I'm coming here for is not, yes, I want to reinstate the training, but I'm coming back because it's so much more value. So they actually become active contributors to your groups after that. And that actually helps you tremendously, even more, because now people are sold at multiple levels and they're looking for you at multiple levels. So it's a great idea to have clients discuss together, but make sure that they are already really, really convinced and have got great value from you, because otherwise it can also lead to a negative effect, where they might not want to come back to your group. So I would say building groups together, great way of building a large community, a fulfilling community, a community that will get you a lot of results. Also a great way to destroy your community. So be mindful of it, depending on the niche that you are in. And I would say, if you can, go ahead and create a community. Nothing better than creating communities. So go for it. That's what I would say, Nina. So just a little something here. If you are not in places like Paris and are not willing to fly to San Diego, it probably doesn't apply. But if you are interested, Evercoach Summit, right now it's at a discount price. You get a great sweet bonus called Beyond. Go ahead and check it out. It is, my team's going to post a link on our different channels and platforms. It is my live event where I will be coaching you live on different areas of business. I have my friends coming in and they will be coaching you live on different areas of coaching. It is, yes, a little bit more biased towards coaching, but we will be talking a lot about how to build an expert business, because coaching is very resonant to becoming an expert in the industry. So we'll be talking about both the yins and the yangs. We're going to talk about your own personal journey as well, because you need that personal breakthrough before you can actually become a great, phenomenal teacher. So we'll start with personal breakthrough, which will be guided by great teachers like Vishen, Lisa Nichols, and Marissa Peer, and all these shenanigans, Jason Goldberg, all these great guys. Then we'll be guiding you through how to coach better, how to really know modalities, how to build modalities of yourself. Then we will go into actually talking about business and building influence and solutions in a way. And we've got some great trainers in there as well. We've got Ted McGrath coming in. It's going to be me for a couple of hours going on stage coaching you guys live. So there's going to be a ton of value that is going to be delivered. It's a pitch-free event. It's just a summit where you're coming in together to learn. So come with the whole mindset of learning a lot. And that is what is going to happen at the Evercoach Summit. So I would, if you are and if you can make time between 11th and 14th of August, we are hosting this on at San Diego in La Jolla at the Marriott Hotel between the 11th and the 14th of August. It is our first time that we're putting together this event, so we're extremely excited and stoked about it. I'm looking forward to having you guys there and show up there with all the love, and we'll be ready to give you a ton of training. So I'm just going to go over to our live stream and see if there is any more questions. Esther says, I cannot able to buy in foreign coin here. I have no idea what that means. Maybe you want to send out an email to support@evercoach.com and maybe they can help you out with what it is. Esther also asked how long it will be available. I'm planning to move from here to Europe in a month. Well, the event is between 11th and 14th of August, so it's going to be available for another month. But this particular offer, this particular price, we are looking at ending that offer in about a week from now. So right now there is no hard timeline that you will see on the page, but that is what our intent is, that we usually take waves so we can kind of cap out and see if we can move our units or number of people we can put in the room at with the hotel. So this is like we do another wave of closing people and making sure that we've got the ticket sales, and then we'll go negotiate with the hotel and see if we can get a bigger room. So that's what we do. So right now we're thinking that whatever capacity we have will run out in the next 4 to 5 minutes. Sorry, not 4 to 5 minutes, 4 to 5 days. And once that happens, we'll have to close the card, renegotiate with the hotel, and open it again. So for now, I would say it's in the 4 to 5 days that it'll be open. All right, Lawrence, that's great that you love the idea of 3 to 5 minutes micro video content and that you're going to do it. Let us know how it does, okay? Donna asks, do you suggest that an agreement be drafted between coach and the client? You absolutely have to draft the agreement between the coach and the client. I don't do agreements, but I know that it has backfired for a lot of people. The reason why I don't do agreements is because I also do really high end, if I am ever doing it, or it's an agreement that happens by default. So it's a little bit different. So I would suggest you do agreement, especially if you are just starting out or you're not doing something that is really high end. And by really high end, I mean anything that is over 35K. When you do something over 35K, the people that you're working with you usually almost handpick them. And when you handpick people, you don't necessarily need to do an agreement with them. But I would suggest, if you're just starting out, if this is new to you, if this is whatever, I would say go ahead and get agreement with your clients for sure. All right, so I think that's what I have for questions. I'm gonna wait up a few more seconds for my team to see if there is any other question. Oh, here it is. Lawrence asks, for me as a swim coach, I have created an FB with videos of swim coach demonstrating certain swim drills, all right, and also post-swimming testimonials. Do it on a regular basis. Also get them to sign up swim lessons with me. Get some results. How to get more. So how to get more is, I would suggest that if your videos are already getting great traction and people are getting value out of it, I would say, and people are sharing it and all that kind of stuff, I would say just boost them. And by boosting, it simply means that you would actually promote that video on Facebook to your fans or people who will be interested in your area to be able to watch that video. The reason why you want to boost it is because you already have an ecosystem that works. What you're not doing is you're under-investing in your business because you think that might be too expensive, but it's not. You need to spend maybe like $50 and you'll get thousands of views for it. And those views will just basically translate to more people looking at what you're doing, being able to follow you on Facebook. They might like your page, and then that would eventually lead to a lot more conversions of these clients becoming your clients, these potential clients becoming your clients. So that's what I would do. I would also look at creating something that is not So when you do testimonials, think about testimonials as something that usually people go, oh yeah, I think Lawrence is great and he's a great teacher, right? That's usually a testimonial looks like. What if instead of that, you told the story of that person on how they were not able to swim for the longest time, and then they figured out how to swim because of Lawrence, and what that meant to them? Did that mean that now they could finally play with their kids in the pool? Did it mean for the kids that they could finally actually not sit by the pool and actually interact with the kids that are playing in the pool? Think about that story that it creates for the person, right? Because who wants to learn swimming doesn't necessarily want to learn swimming just because they have to check a box. For that matter, most likely people are not going to learn if they just have to check a box. People usually learn a skill or put time and money into things because they want a particular experience as a result of it, right? So swimming is equal to some kind of experience. Now, based on your clients, if they're kids, the experience is I want to play with the other kids, right? If they're adults or their parents are making a decision based on, hey, listen, you got to learn swimming because we don't want you to be in trouble, right? Or we don't want you that you don't have that skill because all the other kids have it, right? Whatever that thing is, press on that. Tell that as the story. Don't tell just that, oh, I learned it and Lawrence is great. Tell them why swimming is the greatest thing, and then talk about why Lawrence is the best person to teach it, right? So make that a story and you would get a lot more traction, and a lot more people will come to you a lot more qualified and ready to take action, okay? Venice Robbins asks, I just got on late, apologies, no worries. It's always recorded, so you can go ahead and watch it later. I have FB Live coaching page of 500 followers and have been focusing on engagement. I've been thinking about doing a survey to assess what our followers are. Any recommendations? Well, no, that's a great idea. Go ahead and do that survey, but don't bias yourself only on survey. I'll tell you the reason why. The reason is you have 500 followers, which is great, and you will get some response from it, and you'll have an understanding of who's following you. But what you want to do, and I don't know if you heard that bit of our conversation today, is where we talked about ideal customer avatar. What you want to know is not only who your clients are, but who you want your clients to be. All right? And when you want to know who you want your clients to be, you want to shift the conversation a little bit and be able to go, okay, what is it that I need to post on my page that will attract more and more of my likely clients, the clients that I want to enroll? Okay, so that will make you a little bit more mindful and not always reactive to knowing what your clients existing are or people that you are existingly having. It will make you more proactive to actually go out and find how to get people that you would want to become your fans, you would want to become your customers, to actually go ahead and actually make that decision to work with you. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much for making it online. Last bit, if you are in the States or you're going to be in San Diego, and even if you're not going to be, if you're willing to learn more and invest more in your practice, in your business, come to Evercoach Summit. It's going to be a fun event. We're going to deliver a ton of value. The link is already on the different pages and things. Just scroll up or down to see it. It's called Evercoach Summit right now. It's at a special price, available at a discount. It comes with a special bonus of my unreleased program called Beyond, which you should totally check out. It's all about marketing and sales and how to really convert and really interact with your audience and work with the psychology of people that are in your ecosystem. So thank you very much. It was fantastic having all of you in this live stream. Look out for our emails. We are going to be sending a lot more content designed around the pillars, designed around micro learning, which you already know what it means, so that you can get more and more value every single day from Evercoach, Zenpreneur, and Mind Valley. Thank you. Have a fantastic day or night, depending on where you are.